So I'm a bit hung up about the self.
Yeah, a lot of people are. It's funny. We'll get a bit obsessed with ourselves.
Because it sounds like that's the finish line, right?
Yeah.
Realize
Oh, the
yourself.
big self. The big self.
And
Yeah.
that's it. And then you can relax it. And I had an experience 2 years ago. Being with somebody, he's the only person I met that when I was speaking to him, there was nobody there. So it was like speaking into an empty box.
Yeah.
And that got me to a place where somehow I sensed the limit of my own bubble universe. And I realized it's actually the person on the spiritual quest. It's just another role that we play, right? It's,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not the businessman anymore, now I'm
Yeah.
a spiritual seeker. So I'm obviously better.
Yeah.
And the other big thing in spirituality is the observer. Everybody know, like the observer is the ultimate, but the observer is also observed. We are aware there is an observer. At least I am. I don't know. But who is aware of the observer? That's it.
The mind.
The mind cannot go behind that.
The mind is the one aware of the observer. The mind splits itself off. It's actually a good process that happens. Like the more that you're into the subject, I've been into the subject a long time, like 20 years now, that you see the process happening, the apparent process happening in people. So what happens is that you have these awakenings where you see that there is something watching your person, like there's something watching you. Like, so you have that experience, you're like, holy crap, there is something watching me. And it's the person that's quite taken aback by that, because it can only be the person. And then over time, it's kind of like, it's known, but it's sort of the mind splitting off and looking back. And then at some point, it's known and not known, and that's when the person or the mind stops getting involved, where it's like it breaks free. So it stops being that the mind splits off and looks around at itself and sees that it's consciousness. And it's like this shift happens energetically from the person holding on to anything to just experiencing everywhere. And that's the main focus. Like, that's what's always there. Like, what's always here now is experiencing. So, and your experiencing doesn't happen to you inside that body. Your experiencing is here, 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 my voice, outside. And that's the actual experience now. The experiencing is everything.
I understand, but this everything, my everything is different than your everything. Or this body's everything is different than that body's everything.
Well.
Right? I mean, I'm going to go back to my room, we'll go back to... So your universe looks different, has different experiences than this universe.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think
so that's still a personal bubble.
Yeah, I'm just going to change my words now in this game. So I'm going to change it to consciousness. Okay. Everything means consciousness. Because everything can mean, yeah. It's funny, different languages, like in different ways of saying things. So consciousness, our consciousness are the same. It's the same consciousness working in both. So now this is consciousness, this is consciousness, this is consciousness, this, everything. And that's what is this still, full, empty consciousness that's experiencing. And that's a mystery, so that's known and not known. Like, it's not like you can know consciousness, it just is that way. It's conscious, this is conscious. This is, and that's known and not known. So that's when I say it's known and not known. When the mind has got it, it's just known. The mind knows it as a thought. The mind knows it as a division of itself. It sort of looks back and it goes, yes, there is consciousness. I remember. I forgot. I got lost in life, and now I remember there is consciousness. Whereas when the shift happens, it's just there is consciousness everywhere. It's the way it is. There is consciousness. Who you are is not this person telling stories. Who you are is consciousness, which is everything here now. Everything. But there is that process where the person sees it, where the person looks back to it, where the person keeps trying to get it, remember it, stay in consciousness, and then that all begins to disappear, and then all there is consciousness. And then the person comes and goes in it.
In my case, I feel there's still, the person can only do so much, and then grace has to come, and something else comes, and the shift happens.
Yeah.
The seeker cannot do it, right?
Yeah.
He can only do what he can do.
You know the magic? Everything you've ever done was also grace.
Oh,
Everything. Everything now. So my speaking, your speaking is that grace, is that mystery. Like we think we speak or we think, but how? How do we think? How do we speak? How do we sit here? It's so weird. How do we walk? I remember when I was like 5 years old, we used to walk down this alley and there was an echo, and I would always be like, Mum, look, the legs are walking. I would be so like, wow, the legs walk. And my mum would be like, yes, the legs walk. Amazing. We don't know how, but we're like, oh, well, I'm doing it. I'm thinking.
I had that experience when you know something, you basically kill it. The mystery dies. You say that's a tree, that's it, it's done. Yeah. It's just a concept now, and you don't see the tree anymore.
Yeah, it's only it's only helpful for our survival. So thinking is survival. It's like the way, like, so the wolf has the pack that kills the animal. So the strength of the wolf is the pack. Sorry, this is from Jungle Book. Strength of the wolf is the pack. I forgot the rest of the story. And the human strength is the imagination. Like that's like our imagination, the fact that we can name it a tree, like the fact that we can name it a floor, we can then say clean the floor, paint the floor, climb the tree, put the food up in the tree to stop the other animals getting it. It's like amazing that we can do those type of things, but we get lost in it. So before we started to speak as humans, we just were, and we were living as groups, and there was just a live presence. There was this awakeness, and then there was most probably some form of communicating through grunts or pointing. And then we begin to speak, and then slowly it becomes, I'm going to get fish. And then there's a belief that they really are that I going to get fish, and over time it becomes more. And that's so untrue. There is something that's so mysterious behind all of that. But it's so addictive, this dream. Me, 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 me. Of me and where I go and what I've done. And when you really look at it and break it down, most of you is about survival. We just don't like to admit that because we have these funny games in our society. It's like we can't admit that we're doing it for this, we're doing it for love, we're doing it for niceness, we're doing it for this. Like most of our games are about thinking about how to improve survival. Even enlightenment for the person is about improving your survival.
Maybe it's like, now that I'm enlightened, I live forever, right? That's the story, that once you realize the self is eternal, untouchable, all that stuff, so like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the ego final destination.
And that'd be the same way that you go out and hunt an animal, you're like, got it, that's it! You arrived. We got it, and you come back and everyone celebrates killing the boar or the deer.
It's good because now I feel, there's nothing I can do for enlightenment. It's just the body does what it has to do. And
that can be very depressive, that thought. It's not that there's nothing that
it's kind of relaxing.
Oh yeah, nice. For some people, just for those that have got a tendency towards depression, the depression likes to own there's nothing I can do. Like I have to sit in bed all day. There's nothing I can do. Not that kind of person. Yeah. That can also be great. I loved that too. And it's not really that there's nothing you can do, it's that you is a happening. You is a happening. You didn't ever have the choice to do something or not do something. It's that you never owned anything. It's a happening.